Hey there, friends. Welcome back to School of Tomorrow. I've been on a kind of a sequence where my theme has been, do we want to share data analysis and calculation tools? What level of computing power do we want to share with a younger audience? But then there's other questions too, like what kind of audience and so on. I'm into a philosophy here, and it's a difficult philosophy. So that's my issue. You've got School of Tomorrow, which has a curriculum, and part of it is this calculator of tomorrow. So, like, we can have an interactive sine wave if we want. One of the things we looked at tonight quite a bit was this example of this is classic. This is in all the tutorials, so there's a lot of code already out there that I give credit to or not. And this is one of those where we're just able to change the sine wave at will by sliding things around, right? We have JavaScript sliders, changing the frequency. Now, is this something that you can do on a calculator? No. So there's that. There's this mechanical skills, you could call them, and they could go into all kinds of different curriculums. So you can completely ignore the Martian math and all these digital math components that I talk about and still find some useful application of these sorts of Jupyter Notebook technologies. Now, the philosophy that I'm into, if you're wanting to follow that, it kind of could start with a question. What would Wittgenstein have made of, say, quadrate coordinates in his philosophical investigation slash remarks on the foundation of mathematics, which are kind of one and the same in a way? It's a continuous sort of thought pattern. You could call it deconstruction. He's like doing what the continental philosophers are doing in a different way. His investigations, to some degree, can be teamed up with the notion of deconstruction, but it's not the idea is not deconstruct to the point of where it doesn't work anymore. No, you're not. It's more like it still works as well as ever. In fact, better now that you understand it better. So I think quadrate coordinates and the whole idea of talking in a new way about dimension and saying space is 4D instead of 3D, all this kind of stuff that Fuller does in creating his own namespace would be ideal raw material for a Wittgensteinian because, hey, this is the kind of stuff we look for, where somebody has different uses for the same words, defines things differently. How do we like cohabitate? How do we live together when we're all on a different frequency? You could say when we each speak a private language. I think the Tower of Babel myth pushed to extremes has us each speaking, sort of inventing. There's kind of an existentialism, kind of a solipsism, and Wittgenstein did say in Tractatus that there's something right about the solipsist. But then he proves in investigations that the quote private language is an oxymoron, a logical contradiction. So the idea that we each speak a private language, that's kind of close to the truth, but on the other hand, it makes no sense to say. And in fact, really, it's the intersection of all our private languages that sort of lives on, and none of us know that language. That's sort of beyond anyone's comprehension. So there's an interesting paradox in that the language that lives on is in a way belongs to none of us and is incomprehensible almost, you could say, if that makes any sense. I think art makes sense of it sometimes. Anyway, I'm just rambling on about where you can find me and my philosophy when you start working through the School of Tomorrow curriculum and saying, well, that's a nice calculator. It sure does a lot more than my graphing calculator. But where's the Bucky stuff? I watched House of Tomorrow, the movie, and the reason I'm exploring this curriculum is because I want to learn the Bucky stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it's here, and so is the Wittgenstein stuff. They come together in my curriculum, and you'll find the lectures. Look for Operation Duck Rabbit in my blogs, and you're on your way. Talk to you soon.